You comfortable, Regan?
Yes.
How old are you?
12.
Is there someone inside you?
Sometimes.
Who is it?
I don't know.
In this video, I plan to deep dive into the lore of Pazuzu, the alluded demon possessor of the 1971 book, The Exorcist, and its 1973 adaptation, in order to answer the question, who is Pazuzu?
I am Pazuzu.
This isn't a cinematic critique. The purpose of this video is to deep dive into the historical and mythological depictions of Pazuzu in order to see if they match his portrayal as the villain in the film.
In the hands of Hollywood, Pazuzu suffered a great criticism, in fact slanderous attack on his personality. Because there was a film once in which a girl who looked like a perfectly normal girl suddenly started spewing green things and her head went round on her shoulders. And that film laid the trouble which beset this unfortunate girl at this demon, which if you had to be there right at the beginning of the film to see this Pazuzu head on the floor, and Hollywood thought that Pazuzu was wicked, but in point of fact it's just the opposite.
The Exorcist, for the one person watching that hasn't seen the film, is a movie about an exorcism that they should watch. And I think that about sums it up.
I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it!
I mean, really, if you haven't seen The Exorcist by now, why bother living?
I think the point is to make us despair.
Watching the movie again for this essay, I was worried that it wouldn't hold up for me, as sometimes the movies I loved when I was a kid are just utter cheese when I watch them later on in life.
I just recently met an 8-year-old who told me that they'd seen The Exorcist and loved it. Loved it? I mean, think about that.
But with years and experience, the loss that just comes with age, scenes like the one where Damien Karras is plagued with the visions of his ailing mother on her deathbed hit home in a way they never could have upon first seeing it as a kid. The older I get, the more I empathize with Damien.
There's one shot of him sitting in a chair in this movie. That is how I feel most of the time.
This is the second video in a series which started with Payman. Got a pretty good reception, and I enjoyed the hell out of making it and researching it. It's about the Demon King from Hereditary, and if you haven't seen that video, I think it's important to check it out for better context on the concept of demons, historically speaking. Or don't. I don't give a fuck. Without completely repeating the last video, it's important to remember this. Demons aren't what they used to be. Today, thanks to Abrahamic religions, demons are considered evil spirits that possess or haunt the living, and much of what we think about modern day pop culture demons can be traced right the fuck back to The Exorcist.
What's that? Holy water.
It's the watershed for every good priest, bad demon film made in the last 50 years.
We're agents of the church here.
In ancient cultures, demons were merely agents of whoever worshipped them, neither good nor evil. Same goes for the gods during ancient times, which were far from bearded and benevolent, often complicit in massacres, rapes, and general deviance. Gods and demons of the time were feared alike, and in the case of Pazuzu, an evil demon himself, that fear led to respect, and respect led to worship. Fear led to respect, respect led to worship. Pazuzu reached the height of his worship during the Neo-Assyrian Empire, and though he certainly was regarded as an evil demon, he was by no means the betrayal of evil incarnate shown within The Exorcist.
You know what she did? Your canting daughter?
To the Assyrians, Pazuzu wasn't so much evil as amoral, a creature that could be swayed to your side through devotion. Pazuzu ruled over the west and southwest winds, which the Assyrians believed blew straight from the underworld and brought with it famine, drought, and plague. But for the Assyrians, prayer was a little more complicated than simply praying to one god to protect you from various evils.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Sometimes prayer involved bargaining with the very demon you wished to avoid, which is why Pazuzu was the most popular of protective deities. In order to avoid Pazuzu from darkening their doorstep, an Assyrian would pay their respects. This is what's called APOTROPAIC magic, which is a difficult way of saying keep your gods close and your demons closer. APOTROPAIC magic is the painting of lamb's blood on your door to invoke with Passover of a vengeful spirit. It's wearing an amulet of the evil eye to protect against that very same evil eye. If you wanted to protect your family from Pazuzu, you kept a charm of him in your home.
And you are now part of a demon family. He got inside you. Sorry.
To believers in Pazuzu, these small charms found at Hatra, which depicted the dog-faced, broad-winged, cobra-cocked, taloned demon king, concentrated their power towards protection. The individual mortal would have had nothing to fear from the demon because they were honoring him by asking for his protection, and when he came, he would turn his demonic powers on those threatening his charges, not on the individual mortal who had invoked him. In the film, Marin stands in contrast to the great statue of Pazuzu, but such a large depiction of Pazuzu was a little unlikely to have existed. Depictions of demons or deities associated with the underworld are rare because it was thought that in creating such an image, one attracted the attention of the subject. The bigger the object, the more attention you attracted. And attention from otherworldly powers wasn't always advisable. In Assyrian lore, when the humans got too noisy, the gods literally killed them all with a flood. That seriously was the reason they just got too rowdy.
You ever seen the movie Evan Almighty? No. Yeah, me neither.
Again, the line between good and evil wasn't quite so clear-cut back then. These beings, whether gods or demons, represented things people couldn't explain or had no power over. And sometimes if you wished to ward off one of them, you'd have to confide in another more powerful one. And when it came to fighting fire with fire, Pazuzu was the guy. Because after his brother, Umbaba, died, the only demon more powerful than Pazuzu was his father, the Lord of the Underworld. So Pazuzu became the protector of choice and was used to ward against other lesser demons, like SAMANA, who got his kicks killing children.
I wanted vanilla twist.
But Pazuzu's immortal enemy was the goddess Lamashtu, the daughter of heaven itself, Anu, the lord of the sky. She is associated with witchcraft, infertility, miscarriage, and child death, particularly what we consider today to be sudden infant death syndrome. Though a goddess, Assyrians apparently viewed Lamashtu as a completely evil spirit who acted without justice or motivation. Great is the daughter of heaven who tortures babies. Her hand is a net. Her embrace is death. For context, in 400 BCE, at least 1 in 4 children died in the first year of their life. Only half of all the children born made it to the age of 15. Now go back another 1600 years and you're right at the beginning of the Assyrian Empire, meaning for Assyrians, Lamashtu is someone you wanted protection from, because the odds of infant mortality were stacked against you.
Must be the nursery.
Lamashtu also possessed children and took many forms and faked many identities in order to get close enough to the children she sought to destroy.
How do you do, fellow kids?
In order to exorcise her, she needed the distraction of another vessel, say a toy boat filled with gifts, and once the exorcist knew she was in the new vessel, they'd drop it into the Tigris and off she went.
I had an exorcism. Oh, wow.
But if you couldn't defeat Lamashtu on your own and wanted protection for your child, no one hated that bitch more than Pazuzu.
The darkest part of my mind is reserved for the beast.
It's not known whether Pazuzu valued the innocence of children, or particularly cared about children, but Assyrians kept his image in their nurseries to keep Lamashtu and others at bay.
The sight of his face was enough to drive Lamashtu away altogether.
Irvin Finkel, the headmaster at Hogwarts, curator of the British Museum, and author of Watchmen, has a charming reason why the demon of disease was so against the goddess of child death. A messy divorce.
But my theory is that once they were married, and had a very, very inimical divorce. One of those divorces which you often encounter in literature, and especially in real life, when one partner cannot bear the sight of the other one under any circumstances, and that would explain, I think, the powerful and effective nature of this deterrent.
Hello, beast.
Hello, asshole.
Hey, don't call me asshole.
Don't call me beast. This is Vladislav.
Absolutely the same.
This is my ex-boyfriend. You know, the one who fucked that beast?
All right, that's old business.
So knowing all this, why would Pazuzu, the ancient protector of defenseless children, possess and nearly kill a defenseless girl?
Is she gonna die?
No.
The easy answer is that William Peter Blatty, the author, didn't dig very deeply into Assyrian lore. But, to be fair...
Well, to be fair...
To be fair, I think he chose Pazuzu because the demon matched the themes of mental and physical illness that pervade the book. From Karis's mother, to the detective with emphysema, to Regan's depression over her parents' divorce.
My daughter isn't depressed.
You mentioned her father and the separation.
Also, it should be noted, in the book and film, the possessor is never stated with 100% certainty.
Look, your daughter doesn't say she's a demon, she says she's the devil himself.
The image of Pazuzu is only seen through the eyes of Marin, and even Marin himself says that the demon will lie and show false projections.
The demon is a liar. He will like to confuse us.
So knowing this, and knowing what we now know of Assyrian lore, I like to think that it's Lamashtu that possessed and tortured Regan under the guise of Pazuzu as a sort of ancient slight, an inside joke only she'd find funny. That the ancient protector of children is now the destroyer of a child. And that just like the Exorcist of ancient Assyria, it wasn't Karis's babblings about the power of Christ that exorcised Regan in the end. He merely tempted Lamashtu with a better vessel.
Hollywood thought that Pazuzu was wicked, but in point of fact, it's just the opposite.
Hey shithead, if you like this video, you'll probably like this one as well. I've also linked it in the description down below. Go check it out and drive up the views. We're a small channel here, and every single view helps. And by we, I mean me, because I write, edit, narrate, animate, and I wish I could blame someone else for the sound mixing, but I do that as well. So apart from helpful advice from friends, basically balancing all this crap. So if you like this video, don't just stop watching, like the button, hit the button, and if you want more videos, subscribe. It's simple, you know the fucking drill by now. And if you want to share with friends, go ahead. But also remember, share with enemy. Balance. Keep it alive.